Hey family, it's African Osarenko back at you today. So family, I'm coming to you on this Monday morning to say and to discuss the young man that allegedly uh, on purpose ran into a deputy. Now, they're trying to paint this narrative, family, and a lot of us got to stop thinking like these brutal, brutal white people. We really must, okay? We're thinking like them. See, this is something that maybe some of them would do, okay? But this man necessarily did not intentionally run into that deputy. Okay, his son had just been killed, okay, the day before. This quite possibly could have been an accident where the young man was just so distraught over his child being, unalived by the police that he was in such distress that he you know, ran into this deputy. But they are going to paint a certain narrative. So let's get into it, okay, family? And I'm just going to read just a little bit. And this article is actually by the BBC, okay? It says father charged with killing deputy a day after police killed his son. Police allege that a father hit and killed a sheriff's deputy with a car a day after his 18-year-old son was gunned down by police officers. Rodney Hinton, Jr., 38, from Ohio, is charged with aggravated murder and is being held without bond. The alleged attack came hours after he watched police footage of the fatal encounter with his son, lawyers for the Hinton family say. Cincinnati police chief said there is a connection between the two cases, although there has been no suggestion that the father knew the deputy who died. Ryan Hinton was killed uh, after allegedly brandishing a gun at police during a stolen vehicle. Family, I'm gonna stop right there because there's no need to go further because these are lies that mainstream media are saying because first of all, we some of us have watched that video, and in that video, you can clearly see the young man drops the gun. He did not point the gun at law enforcement, so that is an absolute lie. So if they will tell one lie, then they will also tell many others to try to support their narrative. Okay, so in the video that I witnessed, the young man, and you can look at the video for yourselves. You can see the gun drop. The young man dropped the gun as he was running from the police. Now, the police at that point should have just chased him down, but because many of them are un uh are not in shape, we'll say that, okay? Uh, they would prefer to just shoot uh, victims down. And this is what they did. They shot this 18-year-old young man, okay? who was unarmed. This young man had dropped his gun. He did have a gun, but he dropped his gun. He dropped his gun. Okay. See, these are the things that they do to young black men, middle-aged black men, old black men, black women, black children. It doesn't matter. These are the things they use and the tactics that they use and the narratives that they try and paint. And I see so many social media influencers on air saying that this man, uh, for vengeance, went and ran over this deputy. I don't believe that to be the case. Look, I'm a therapist, and I believe that the man's son was killed the day before. The man was in such in such a state of being distraught over the loss of his son. Okay? Over the loss of his son. And he could have been driving. We don't know what condition this man was in mentally. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally. The man could have checked out. He could have made a wrong turn. Anything could have happened to make him accidentally run into that deputy. It is not a necessity that the man intended to do it. But this narrative is going to be painted because they want to make it look like he was trying to do a vigilante justice for himself. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, family. And we all have to stop believing what this enemy tells us. So many of us listen to the narratives that they paint about us, and then we run with it. We must stop doing that, family. I do not believe this man intentionally tried to run that deputy over. That's my opinion. And you may have your own, and that's fine. But I'm going to stand on it 10 toes down. I don't believe it was done by purpose. I believe it was possibly done by accident. Who have not lost a close family member and just been in the greatest state of mind? Sometimes when you lose someone, especially suddenly, it wasn't like his son was sick and he had been preparing for, a death. This came all of a sudden, okay? I'm not saying I'm not a law enforcement specialist, and I'm not saying that the cop didn't feel like the young man had uh, the weapon still in his hand. But as a police officer, you should be trained to use your common sense and your most logical sense. And I understand under certain situations that you can, your adrenaline can get really pumped up and you can make decisions that may be irrational because it's based off what you are feeling at that moment. However, as a certified police officer, it is your obligation to ensure before you take such extreme measures that it is warranted. It always amazes me that they can approach a white teen with a gun, or man, grown man, with the gun without drawing their weapons and shooting them. However, every single time they approach someone black, they must shoot them. This is what, as far as I'm concerned, this is what this is how they're being trained. It has to be something to that effect. This is how they are being trained. That as soon as you see a black suspect, shoot them. Because otherwise, why are so many police officers shooting black people? Okay? It's more than just it was warranted, because a lot of times we see them shoot unarmed black people. So those are not warranted shootings. So look, they killed Tamir Rice. They drove up and within a couple of seconds, he was dead. This happens far too often in the Black community. And you don't hear Black leaders talking about it. And we're not hearing, just like with all of these other things that are happening and occurring to people in our community who look like me, you don't see the leaders, so-called Black politicians and leaders, saying a word. I don't think the shooting of this young man's son was warranted, and I don't think it was warranted to jump to the conclusion that this young man killed this cop on a vigilante move. So I think that's a narrative that the mainstream media and that police department, is perpetrating. That's what I believe they're saying. I believe they're doing that because this is what they feel occurred. I don't believe it's the truth at all. So that's my take on it. I thank you so much, family. I hope you will like, share, and comment. And we thank you so much to our new subscribers. We welcome you, and we are so glad to have you here. And I am so appreciative of my old subscribers as well. Okay? We are all family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We chop it up. We don't always agree, but we always agree to disagree. All right, family. Be blessed. Take care. Bye bye.